Great. Let me know what you'd like to tweak. Do you want it longer, shorter, or more personal? Should it focus on a specific audience, like entrepreneurs, students, or leaders? Or do you want a more emotional punch? Let's fine-tune it to make it perfect for your needs. Look around you. Everything you see, every invention, every piece of technology, every revolutionary idea exists because someone, somewhere, refused to accept the way things were. They weren't the ones who followed the rules, they weren't the ones who did what was expected. They were the ones who looked at the world and said, "This can be better." Thinking differently isn't a skill. It's not something you learn in a classroom or find in a textbook. It's a mindset, a choice. It's the decision to reject the ordinary and chase the extraordinary. History proves this time and time again. The greatest minds, the ones who shaped the future, were often seen as misfits, rebels, even troublemakers. They questioned authority, they broke conventions, they asked why when everyone else just accepted the way things were. Think about it. There was a time when people believed that humans could never fly, that the world was flat, that computers would never fit in a home, let alone in a pocket. If everyone had simply accepted those limits, we'd still be living in the past. But a few brave souls refused to accept impossible. They thought differently, and because of them the world changed forever. Thinking differently means not settling for the first answer. It means being curious enough to ask questions that no one else is asking. It means being brave enough to explore ideas that others dismiss as ridiculous. And it means understanding that just because something has never been done before doesn't mean it can't be done. But thinking differently isn't easy. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It often means standing alone while the world tells you you're wrong. It means pushing forward even when nothing makes sense and the odds are stacked against you. Most people choose comfort. They choose familiarity. They choose to fit in rather than stand out. But the ones who dare to think differently, they are the ones who build the future. Failure. It's a word that most people fear. A word that makes people hesitate, retreat, and give up. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it's the path to it. Look at any great innovator, any game changer, any visionary who has left their mark on the world. What do they all have in common? They failed, not just once, not just twice, they failed over and over again. But they didn't stop. They didn't let failure define them. Instead, they embraced it, learned from it, and used it as fuel to push forward. Failure is not a dead end. It's a stepping stone. It's the universe's way of testing how badly you want something. Every time you fail, you are given two choices. You can either let it break you, or you can let it shape you into something stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Think about every breakthrough in history. The first airplane didn't soar on its first attempt. The first light bulb didn't shine without countless revisions. The greatest companies, the most revolutionary products, the biggest success stories, they were all built on the foundation of failure. But here's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The ones who succeed don't see failure as an end point. They see it as data, as feedback, as a necessary part of the process. Every failure carries a lesson. Every setback reveals a weakness that needs to be improved. Every mistake teaches something that brings you one step closer to success. The problem is, most people don't like failure. They're afraid of it. They avoid it at all costs. And that's exactly why they never truly innovate. Because real innovation, the kind that changes industries, reshapes societies, and redefines what's possible, requires risk. It requires stepping into the unknown without a guarantee of success. It requires trying, failing, and trying again. The greatest minds in history were not afraid to be wrong. They were not afraid to look foolish. They were not afraid to fall flat on their faces. Because they knew that every failure was a lesson in disguise. So, if you want to innovate, if you want to build something truly extraordinary, if you want to leave your mark on this world, fail. Fail fast, fail often, fail boldly, because every failure is a sign that you are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Every failure is proof that you are doing something new, something different, something that matters. And if you embrace failure instead of fearing it, if you chase innovation instead of comfort, then you'll find yourself in a place where very few people dare to go, a place where the impossible becomes possible. What drives you? What makes you wake up in the morning with a fire in your soul, ready to take on the world? If you don't know the answer, stop everything and find it, because without passion, nothing truly great can be built. Too many people live by convention. They follow the blueprint that was handed to them. Go to school, get a safe job, do what society expects. Don't rock the boat. And so they spend their lives stuck in routines that never excite them, working in jobs that drain them, settling for good enough instead of chasing greatness. But the ones who change the world, they don't follow convention. They don't do things just because that's how it's always been done. They are driven by something deeper. Passion. Passion is the difference between mediocrity and brilliance. It's what separates those who go through the motions from those who create something unforgettable. Passion is what makes someone work tirelessly, not because they have to, but because they can't imagine doing anything else. Think about every groundbreaking invention, every work of art that moved the world, every idea that disrupted an entire industry. None of them came from people who were simply doing their jobs. They came from people who were obsessed, people who loved what they did so much that they were willing to suffer for it, sacrifice for it, dedicate their lives to it. The truth is, convention is easy, passion is hard. Passion demands that you take risks, that you go against the grain, that you ignore the voices telling you to be practical and listen to the one inside you saying, "This is what I was born to do." And when you choose passion over convention, you unlock something powerful. Work stops feeling like work. Obstacles stop feeling like setbacks. Every challenge becomes another step towards something greater. Passion fuels resilience. And resilience is what keeps you going when things get tough, because they will get tough. But passion alone isn't enough. Passion has to be backed by action. It has to be turned into something real, something tangible, something that leaves an impact. Passion without action is just a dream. Passion with action, that's how revolutions start. That's how industries are transformed. That's how legacies are built. So if you have a choice between doing what's safe and doing what sets your soul on fire, choose fire. If you have a choice between following the rules and rewriting them, rewrite them. The world has never been changed by those who played it safe. It has been changed by those who had the courage to chase what they love, to put passion over convention, and to never settle for anything less than extraordinary. The world is obsessed with complexity. People think that the more complicated something is, the more valuable it must be, that intelligence is measured by how difficult things seem, that adding more features, more layers, more explanations makes something better. But the truth is, genius is the opposite of complexity. Genius is simplicity. Think about the most iconic inventions, the most powerful ideas, the most revolutionary designs. They are not the ones buried in unnecessary details. They are the ones that are stripped down to their purest form, the ones that take something difficult and make it feel effortless. Simplicity is not about doing less. It's about doing more with less. It's about clarity, about cutting through the noise, about removing the unnecessary until only what truly matters remains. Look at nature. A bird doesn't need an instruction manual to fly. A tree doesn't need a complex system to grow. The universe itself, in all its vastness, operates on a few fundamental laws. Simplicity is at the core of everything that lasts. Yet, as humans, we tend to complicate things. We pile on features. We overthink decisions. We make things harder than they need to be. Why? Because simplicity is hard. It's easy to make something complicated. Anyone can do that. But to take something complicated and make it simple, that requires real genius. The greatest minds in history understood this. The best products in the world are the ones that feel intuitive. The best speeches are the ones that communicate deep ideas in just a few words. The best designs are the ones where nothing extra is needed, yet nothing is missing. Simplicity is about focus. It's about clarity. It's about understanding that the best solutions are not the ones that impress people with complexity, but the ones that disappear into the background, so natural, so effortless that they just work. But simplicity is not just about design or innovation. It's a way of thinking, a way of approaching life. When you simplify, you cut out distractions. You remove what doesn't matter. You stop wasting time on things that don't bring real value. You get to the core of what's important. The world rewards simplicity. Customers don't want to read a manual. People don't want to struggle to understand something. The best ideas are the ones that just click, because they don't force you to think about how they work, they just do. The challenge is, simplicity requires discipline, requires the ability to say no to unnecessary things. It requires the courage to strip away the excess, even when people tell you to add more. But when you get it right, when you truly embrace simplicity, that's when you create something timeless. Hunger is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. It's what keeps you moving when others stop. It's what pushes you to learn, to grow, to explore, to challenge yourself beyond what's comfortable. When you're hungry, you don't settle. You don't accept things as they are. You see them for what they could be. Hunger is the drive to chase something bigger than yourself. It's the relentless curiosity that keeps you asking, what's next? But hunger alone isn't enough. You also have to be foolish. Because the world will try to make you play it safe. It will tell you to be practical, to be realistic, to follow the rules, stay in line and not take risks. But the people who change the world, they're the ones who don't listen. They're the ones who dare to be foolish enough to believe in things that don't exist yet. They're the ones who try what others say is impossible. They're the ones who take leaps of faith when there is no safety net. Foolishness isn't about ignorance, it's about courage. It's about refusing to let fear dictate your choices. It's about being bold enough to take the path no one else is willing to take, not because it's easy, but because it leads somewhere new. The moment you stop being hungry, you stop growing. The moment you stop being foolish, you start becoming just like everyone else. And the moment you become like everyone else, you lose the very thing that makes you unique, the thing that makes you capable of doing something truly remarkable. The greatest minds in history, the inventors, the creators, the disruptors, they never stopped being hungry. They never reached a point where they said, this is enough. They never let success make them complacent, and they never let failure make them afraid. They kept moving forward, always searching for the next challenge, the next breakthrough, the next big idea. And they were foolish. They ignored the doubters. They took risks that didn't make sense to anyone but them. They believed in ideas that seemed ridiculous at the time, but would go on to change the world. That's the key. Hunger keeps you moving. Foolishness keeps you fearless. The world needs more people who are hungry enough to want more and foolish enough to chase it, no matter how crazy it seems. It's easy to be logical. It's easy to follow the rules. But logic doesn't create revolutions. Playing it safe doesn't lead to breakthroughs. And staying inside the lines will never take you beyond them. So don't lose your hunger. Don't lose your foolishness. Keep pushing. Keep dreaming. Keep believing in things that others can't see yet, because the ones who are hungry enough to chase their dreams and foolish enough to believe they can change the world are the ones who actually do. Most people live their lives trying to fit in. They follow the path laid out for them, do what's expected, and stay within the lines. They work hard, they do their jobs, they play it safe, and when it's all over, the world looks exactly the same as it did before they arrived. But some people refuse to accept that. Some people are born with an unshakable belief that they are here for something bigger, that their time on this planet is more than just existing, more than just getting by. These are the people who don't just pass through life, they leave a dent in the universe. Leaving a dent in the universe means refusing to be ordinary. It means knowing deep in your soul that you have something to give, something to create, something to build that will outlive you. It's about seeing the world not as it is, but as it could be, and dedicating yourself to making that vision real. But here's the truth. Most people won't do it. Not because they can't, but because they don't dare. They let fear hold them back. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping outside the lines. They convince themselves that their ideas are too big, that their dreams are too crazy, that someone else, someone smarter, more powerful, more qualified, should be the one to make an impact. That's the biggest lie there is. History is not made by people who wait for permission. The world does not change because of people who play it safe. Every great breakthrough, every innovation, every movement that ever mattered started with someone who refused to sit still, someone who looked at the world and said, I can make this better. The people who change the world don't have superpowers, they don't have all the answers. They don't start out knowing exactly how they're going to do it, but they start anyway. They take the first step. They keep going when it gets hard. They fail, they learn, they push forward, and slowly, day by day, they turn an idea into a revolution. Leaving a dent in the universe doesn't mean you have to be famous. It doesn't mean you have to build the next great company or lead the next global movement. It simply means making an impact, creating something that wouldn't exist without you. Something that makes life better, easier, more inspiring for someone else. Maybe your dent is an invention that changes the way people live. Maybe it's a piece of art that moves people in a way nothing else can. Maybe it's a business that challenges the way things have always been done. Maybe it's a book, a film, a speech, an idea, something that matters. The world is filled with people who coast through life, leaving everything exactly as they found it. Don't be one of them. You have a choice. You can blend in, follow the rules, and leave no trace when you're gone. Or you can do something that matters. You can think differently. You can build something that lasts. You can leave a dent in the universe, a mark so deep that the world is never the same after you.